Hey guys, what's the crack? My name's Ross. I'm a photographer and video maker from Northern Ireland. Welcome to my YouTube channel. So if you've been following my YouTube channel, you'll have seen that this year I got into shooting film. And with that has come an unhealthy or healthy, depending on which way you look at it, addiction to buying film cameras off eBay. I've bought SLRs, I've bought rangefinders and point and shoot cameras, but my favorite so far to shoot with have been the rangefinder cameras, especially my Yashica Electro 35 GTN, which you can watch me unbox in this previous video here. I am really enjoying shooting film, and part of the joy is using the different film stocks that are available, getting different results, different colors, different grains, but also part of the joy for me is trying out all these old cameras. The results from a film camera are just unlike anything that can be recreated in a digital camera. Fujifilm gets close, but it doesn't replace film. On to the purpose of today's video, and that is to share my latest film camera purchase. I've got it here in my hung supply bag, which is actually quite funny because my hung supply bag is my shoulder carry. You've seen it probably in all my other videos. I love this bag. It's the perfect size to fit my camera gear, my normal camera gear, my Fujifilm X-H2S or X-T4 or whatever, a few microphones, batteries, a notebook, whatever you need in there. But it seems giant for what I'm about to pull out of it. What do you see? This is my latest film camera purchase, the Olympus XA, the original. The size of this camera is the main reason that I bought it. I wanted a good quality film camera that you can load a roll into, chuck it in your pocket. I've got a iPhone mini or something. I don't really know much about phones, but I've got a small phone, and this thing here is smaller than even my phone. So you can slip it in your pocket and take it everywhere you go, and that's the main reason why I bought it in the first place. One thing I didn't know about this camera before I bought it was just how well designed it was. It's so small, you might think it's a point and shoot camera, but this thing isn't. It's a rangefinder camera, which is my favorite to shoot with. The Olympus XA is absolutely minuscule. It has a clamshell design, so the lens is behind here. All you do is reach your thumb up, pull that back, and it reveals the lens, which is really small. You set your ISO with this little switch here in the front. It goes from 25 all the way up to 800. Down here, this little lever, that's how you focus the thing. There's no mirror in this camera, so you don't look through the lens, but you just look through this bit of glass here, and there's a rangefinder patch there that you can line up with your subject. It can be very hard to focus this camera just because it's so small. The patch in mine isn't very bright, but I've taken a bunch of shots with this camera zone focusing, and there's a focus scale on the top. So when you move the focus lever, you can see the scale here. It's in meters, and it goes from 0.85 meters all the way to infinity. So that's really, really handy as well. At the top corner of this camera, you have your frame counter. Mine's actually stuck on this camera, but that's okay. It just adds to the how many frames do I have left? I don't know, who cares, keep shooting. You've got this little film advanced cog, so no lever, but what can you expect with such a tiny camera? And this thing is so nostalgic as well. It reminds me of shooting disposable cameras. What do you hear? Can you hear that? I don't know. These are aperture priority cameras. So when taking a photograph, you set your film speed on the front here with the ISO slider. You choose your aperture, hold it up, and check to see what shutter speed the camera is going to shoot with. Another thing really, really, really cool about the XA is when you are loading your film into the back, you pop it up here, load your film in there, stretch it across, and because the distance is so small to stretch your film leader across, you usually get 1 or 2 extra frames in the roll. And that goes a long way with the expense of film photography being what it is today. Getting a few extra frames in your roll, why not? One thing that I've heard people complain about with this camera is that the shutter button, this red button on the top, is very, very sensitive. It takes very little to push it down. I haven't found it too much of an issue, so what I do is advance the film with the little winder and then close the clamshell, and that locks the shutter from even taking a photograph. So it's made mostly of some form of hard plastic, and mine shows a few bits of wear, like the slider that when you pull this back sometimes can come out of the reel, but you know, that's not an issue. This thing has lasted 30, 40 years, I don't know, maybe more. That's absolutely incredible. So props to Olympus for designing such an incredible camera. This version here is the original XA, and it came out in 1979, something like that. And it was designed by a very famous camera designer who you can look up and find out all about if you want to. As far as I'm aware, the original XA is the only iteration of this camera that has a maximum aperture of f2.8 in its lens. In my opinion, having this little focus lever on the original XA makes them more desirable, which in turn makes them a little bit more expensive when you go to buy them. So on eBay, you can get yourself an original XA for around £100 or $100. Whereas the Olympus XA2, 3 or 4 might be more like, you know, 60 or 70 or 80, something like that, depending on where you buy it from. Honestly, the design of these cameras is actually insane. Like, even if you don't shoot film photography and you're really into collecting things or like photographing things, get yourself one of these just for the pleasure of playing around with it. Like, how they fit so many features on this camera and still kept it so small is beyond me. Like, this thing is a thing of beauty. Because these cameras are so small, you're probably taking them, you know, to everyday events like your friend's party or to a coffee shop or like some sort of indoor event where you might need a flash. And that's not a problem because these cameras are often sold with this, the A11 flash unit. You can stick this little flash unit in your pocket when you need it, whip it out, stick it on the side, turn the thumb screw, boom, you've got a flash. Like, how handy is that? And it's not even that much bigger. The flash itself is powered off one AA battery, which is really handy. You know, you stick a AA in there and away you go. I actually haven't had a chance to test out the flash myself. All the photos I've taken with this camera have been in the daytime, so that's something that I'm excited to try out with this camera going forward. A few weeks ago, I found myself up in Botanic, which is the main student area of the city of Belfast. I had this camera with me, loaded up with a roll of Kodak Gold, and I walked around, took a few photographs of things that stood out to me, and had a great time. So here are some of those photographs for you to enjoy. So there you go, there's a few photographs taken around the Botanic area of Belfast with the original XA camera shot on Kodak Gold. None of those photographs are the best photographs I've ever taken, but I had a lot of fun walking around the streets and taking a few photographs of bins and mattresses and cars and whatever interesting things I found on the day. This camera is so small that, like, You don't get taken seriously when you're walking around shooting with this camera, which is a good thing if you're doing street photography. One thing I would say is I find it very difficult to focus with the patch in this one. I don't know whether it's just my camera. It helped that it was a really bright day, but I was looking, you know, to try and match up the straight lines to know whether I was in focus or not. One thing I'd like to take the time to do is to thank Come Through Lab, which is a film developing and scanning lab based in Manchester. I got my scans back really quickly and they were really good quality. So thank you to Come Through Lab for doing such a great job with this roll. As it stands, I have only put 3 rolls of film through this Olympus XA, and every one of them was a roll of Kodak Gold. So in the future with this camera, I am excited to try out different film stocks to see, you know, the varying sharpness and color and see what else this camera can produce. If you're out there and you're a film photographer or you're just looking to get into film photography and you're looking for a tiny, minuscule camera that you can slip into your pocket, one that's really well built, that you can focus with a little lever, choose your ISO, choose your aperture, a camera that is really well designed, really tough, really reliable, and one that you can squeeze an extra few frames out of the back, then do not look past this camera, the original Olympus XA. My feet are about to get absolutely soaked standing so close to the incoming tide, but that's the price you pay for making a YouTube video on the coast of Northern Ireland. Anyway, why don't you go out and buy yourself an Olympus XA? I promise you won't be disappointed. Thank you so much for watching. Wherever you are in the world, I hope you have a great day, and I'll see you in another one soon. Bye.